Welcome, and thank you for watching the 2020 RFP 2021 Housing Tax Credit Multifamily Scoring Training. This tutorial provides in-depth guidance for completing the self-scoring worksheet. It can be viewed in its entirety or by sections, which are broken out for easy reference. For those applicants who are new to Minnesota housing, the agency provides access to safe, decent, and affordable housing and builds stronger communities across the state. It offers products that support the development and preservation of affordable rental housing through both financing and long-term asset management. It has also pioneered a successful model for supportive housing that helps stabilize the lives of some of the state's most vulnerable citizens. Additionally, Minnesota Housing offers products and services to help Minnesotans buy and fix up their homes and stabilize neighborhoods, communities, and families. This tutorial will cover minimum thresholds, Minnesota Housing strategic priorities, and selection categories and criteria. Technical assistance provided by Minnesota Housing staff is only advisory and does not guarantee that a development will receive points under a particular category or be selected for funding. While every effort is made to ensure the accuracy of the technical assistance, such assistance is subject to and does not modify or override the requirements of Minnesota Housing's Qualified Allocation Plan, Housing Tax Credit Program Procedural Manual, the Housing Tax Credit Self-Scoring Worksheet, and/or the Request for Proposals Deferred Loan Priority Checklist, the Multifamily Request for Proposals Guide, Multifamily Underwriting Standards, or other documents related to applications for funding. Applicants are encouraged to review the materials available on the Minnesota Housing website and consult with legal counsel, and if applicable, a knowledgeable tax professional to ensure compliance with all applicable application, submission, and project requirements. Scoring is an integral part of the RFP application process and is one of several ways that Minnesota Housing selects projects for funding. Some basic scoring information includes: tax credit projects must meet a minimum point requirement to move forward in the RFP process. For 9% tax credit projects, the minimum point requirement is 70. For deferred with 4% tax credit projects, the minimum requirement is 40 points. It is important for applicants to know that these point thresholds represent the minimum points needed. In reality, competitive projects score much higher. In the 2019 RFP 2020 tax credit funding round, the final point range for 9% tax credit projects in Greater Minnesota was 117 to 110 points. In the metro area, the final point range was 115 to 103 points. Minnesota Housing will only award points if they were claimed by applicants and they meet the supporting documentation requirements outlined in the self-scoring worksheet and the deferred scoring guide. Minnesota Housing will reduce points if the documentation does not meet requirements. There are two key documents that applicants will need: the Multifamily 2021 HTC Self-Scoring Worksheet that includes the 2020 Deferred Loan Priority Checklist and the 2021 HTC and 2020 Deferred Scoring Guide. The documents are linked on this slide, but they can also be found on Minnesota Housing's website at www.mnhousing.gov. Click Apply for Funding under Multifamily Rental Partners that can be found on the right side of the page. On the Apply for Funding tab, click Tax Credits and scroll down to the applicable documents. Note that the 2021 HTC Self-Scoring Worksheet and 2020 Deferred Loan Priority Checklist, which is a single Excel document, is linked on the website as the 2021 HTC Self-Scoring Worksheet. The document itself includes the full title. Also note that both documents will be referred to throughout this tutorial as a self-scoring worksheet and the scoring guide, respectively. The self-scoring worksheet and deferred loan priority checklist is an Excel document that applicants must complete and submit with applications. Applicants will select various versions of the Excel document depending on the type of financing being sought for a particular project. For example, if projects are structured as a 9% tax credit only proposal, applicants would select the 9% housing tax credits only request box. The minimum thresholds, strategic priorities, and all scoring criteria are listed on the worksheet. The self-scoring worksheet is the source document that Minnesota Housing uses to score applications. So keep in mind that Minnesota Housing cannot award points if they are not claimed on the self-scoring worksheet. Remember to carefully review the final version prior to submission to verify accuracy. Some other important notes to keep in mind. Applicants must have at least one strategic priority selected in order to enter scoring criteria information. If applicants uncheck a funding type selection after beginning to enter data into the self-scoring worksheet, the score sheet will not retain the data that was entered. The scoring guide is the companion document to the self-scoring worksheet. Much of the supporting documentation is listed in the self-scoring worksheet, but the scoring guide contains more detail and clarifications. In some instances, helpful tools and templates are linked in the scoring guide. This training will review these helpful tools and templates. It is important to reference both documents to make sure applications are competitive and are eligible to receive the points being claimed.